Hello again, everyone. You are watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, and I am making a video today. I'm going to show how to thread the Spartan sewing machine, otherwise known as the Singer Spartan or the Singer 99, because it's essentially the same machine with the same threading path. But I make a habit of showing the threading of machines on this channel because my viewers asked me to, so I thought I would do that. I am installing. This machine had a Singer needle. I'm guessing maybe it was a 14 size, but I'm going to start with a new needle. I've got, it says HA times 1, which is a home sewing needle, size 16, and the brand is Oregon, one of my favorite brands. And I'm going to show how to install the needle, and then we'll get the machine threaded up. Needle and thread. All right, so we're going to need to zoom in here. I'll show all of you. Remember that some of these things that I'm showing, whether it's threading of this machine, for example, or putting in the needle, the instructions for this do exist in the manual, and Singer manuals are some of the easiest to get. So you might be wondering why. Oh, by the way, the needle is a titanium coated. We spared no expense here. These are slightly more money, not terribly expensive, but I like these. Anyway, making a video hopefully will help you. Your manual is still a good source, and I would strongly recommend you keep it there. However, got a very long thread tail on my lower thread, but sometimes the videos can really help, mostly because of the way the old manuals were illustrated. They're written pretty well. They're just not always illustrated in ways that are understandable. So again, you want to, for the purpose of this, you can have your foot down. The pressure foot doesn't have to be up. We'll be pulling that up in a minute when we start to thread the machine. So like most vintage sewing machines of this era, including most Singers, with the exception of the Singer 221 Featherweight, the Singer 301, the Singer 201, those three Singer machines will thread, and you actually install the needle in such a way that the thread goes from the right towards the left. But we're not doing that today because most vintage sewing machines don't thread like that. They thread from the right from the left moving toward the right. So in order to make that happen, you have to install your needle in the proper position. The thread path of a needle determines the position in which the needle is installed. And when I hold the needle here, you can see, when I roll it, you can see that the reflection of the light coming in the window there, you see the flat side. And the rest of the needle is round, except for that one flat side. Where's that flat side going to face? It's going to face toward the right, because that's the direction, the same direction that we're going to be putting we're going to be threading the needle. Oops, I'm going to hold on to my needle clamp here. By the way, if your needle clamp is loose, when you loosen the thumb screw on the needle clamp, don't do it all the way, because a lot of times your needle clamp will just fall off. Okay, so I'm going to come here, and I'm going to make sure that I've got the flat side facing to the right. And as I've demonstrated on other videos, there's a way to sort of verify that you have it correctly. Now, as I've also demonstrated before, when you start putting the needle up, right, keep pushing up until it stops. Hold it there with if you're right-handed like I am, hold it with your left, okay? You do the reverse if you're left-handed. Make sure you don't let go of that needle. Okay, just push it up until it stops and hold it there, and then snug down your thumb screw and then let go of the needle, because you don't want the needle to come out of position. And as a backup, you say, well, do I still have the needle positioned right? Because the needles can wiggle and twirl when you're trying to do this. All you have to do is take your finger and just lightly rub against the left side of the needle, and you should feel a groove, and that's the only side you should feel the groove in. And that tells you that you are in good shape, that you should have your needle in the right position. Okay, so that is how you install a needle on a Singer Spartan. In fact, most vintage sewing machines built during this time will install that way. Okay. All right. So you got your new needle. I've already got my bobbin thread is down below waiting for us. So we'll start up here. The thread path of this machine is relatively simple. Again, if you know the thread path of the Singer 99, you've seen this story before. It's the same. Okay. So I like to bring my thread off of the back of the spool. Some of you may vary. Okay, and I went and got the red colored thread, so it'll contrast more with the gray bottom thread, and it'll also show up, I hope it shows up pretty well here for you guys. So what are we going to do? I'm going to turn the machine here, and again, I want you to see how I'm threading the machine. We don't have a baffle to slide the thread. Some machines have that little piece of steel. You slide it into the discs, but you don't need that here. These discs are easy to see. They are, I believe they are nickel plated. We'll give you guys a little zoom. And I'll show you, I'm simply going to come down. Now, before we go any further, in fact, it's a really good idea before you even start this procedure, but definitely before you go into those, into the discs of your tension assembly, make no further moves. We're going to come over here and get our presser foot lifted up, okay? We really need that because we want to make sure that the pressure is off of the discs on the tension assembly when we put our thread there, okay? So again, let's come back up so you can see I have that first thread guide to hit right here. That's easy to spot. There's no other thread guide on the top of this machine. That's it. And then we're going to come down. And again, when you're doing this, let me just aim up for just a moment. A lot of times when I'm threading a machine, I'll lightly hold the spool. I'm not holding it still because then the thread won't flow, but I want to be able to control the flow of that thread, because if I don't, I'll end up with a really long tail. It'll come right off of there. So again, and make sure you have a felt washer on your machine. You will be glad you do when you start sewing. All right, so we're going to come down. Again, we've got the red thread here. We're just going to come down and make sure that that thread is between your two discs, okay? If I turn the machine to this way, do not put it here. Don't put it behind the discs. That's not going to work for you. Believe me, you want to come right. There's only two discs. You want to come right in the middle, right there, okay? Now, I'm going to turn this back around so we can see what we are often seeing, because many of you will thread your machine when you're facing the machine. And I'm going to come down again, forming the letter J, and I'm coming around. And for some machines, they will have, there's often a chrome or a nickel-plated metal piece that will guide your thread around so that it lands into the check spring. Well, this machine was built earlier. It doesn't have that, but that's okay. When you come up, we're coming around. Make sure your thread again is between the two discs, and if you follow the red thread, you can see I'm sort of pulling it at an angle. I'm just going to come over here, and just like we did with those discs in an earlier video, what I want us to do, and I want you guys to get kind of an aerial view here because you'll see it's easier to show you from above. So again, when you come over, right? We're coming over we've got the thread between the discs. Here's our check spring, but we're going to keep coming around because we want to get on the inside of that check spring, right? Remember, the check spring is shaped like a tongue or like a little U shape. It comes down and then it ends right here, right? But you, in order to get your thread where it needs to be, you've got to come in front of the spring, okay, like I did before, okay? So when you're coming around, you're going to, it wants to stay under the spring where I had it before. Okay, so trying to see where the bottom of that spring is. All right, so what you're doing is you're coming around, okay? I'm going to do this again for you guys. Oh, by the way, let's get our take-up arm in the up position. Okay, so I'm coming around. I've got, make sure that thread, again, it is easy to accidentally get your thread in front or behind the two discs. And if you do, you won't get very good tension, and you'll know pretty quickly. Okay, coming around, we're going in front of, under and in front of the check spring, and you say, well, how far back do I need to go? You keep going until you reach the end of the spring. The spring is open like a comes around here, turns, and then it comes down and stops. So if I don't go far enough when I'm coming over, notice I can't. You're like, hey, I can't get down. I can't get on the other side of the spring. You got to keep sliding, keep sliding. Now, okay, okay. So what did we just accomplish? What we basically did was we came all the way around, sliding toward ourselves over here, and you can see the very end of the spring is right there. Okay, the tail of it. So when you come under it, now you're on the other side. And so now we're ready to continue. And now we've got the thread exactly where it wants to be. And this is where I'm going to start holding onto that spool, because the thread will just keep, it'll keep coming if I pull on it. All right, now where are we up to now? We're going to come over here and we're going to go under this support. And I'm going to zoom back out so you can see that take-up arm. The take-up arm, of course, has a travel, goes all the way down, but we want it in the up position. And I'm going to come over here. I've got my thread is, I need a fresh cut. It's a little bent on the end there. That's not going to make it fun to thread. All right, again, sometimes when you're doing this, you're making these adjustments, your thread will come undone from one of the places, like it wanted to come out from this little spot here. Don't worry, that can happen when you have a long thread tail. You just go back and put it, it's fine. And now we're going to come in and from the right toward the left, we're going to get through the take-up arm. Come here. All right, and you can see where the thread popped up. So I'm just going to tuck it back. That's where it was. I just had extra thread, no big deal. Okay, now I'm going to come down again, and there's a thread guide right there waiting for me, and just pull it right in there. It comes right through. Now we're gonna lower down because the machine's fairly tall and we've got more threading to do. Now here's the thread guide. How do you get in there? You literally take the thread, okay, if you're from the front of the machine looking back, and we're going to come there, and voila, there we go. We've just threaded that thread guide. What do we have left? Just one thing. We're going to thread the needle, or I'm going to attempt to do that without getting in the way. Now, I'd like to be able to see the eye of the needle. I think I can see it with the foot here. If not, I'll lower the foot. Again, as long as we have enough slack in our thread, we just don't want to pull the thread with the foot down, because then we'll have pressure on that. We don't want that to happen until we're ready to sew. Okay, so I'm going to take my thread here, and again I'm looking for the eye, and I'm going to come down from the left towards the right. When it comes to the path, the path of threading a sewing machine, it's like it's like a recipe. You do this, and then you do everything in a certain order, in a certain way. It's not difficult. And those of you who've been sewing on the same machine for a long time, many of you don't even have to look at the manual or even a video like this. You already know how to you already are aware of how to thread your machine because you've done it enough times. But it's easy to forget if it's been a while since you've now I don't need to bring my my bobbin thread up because it's already up here. So I'm going to come under, and now, okay, now I have not set the tension yet, but that is basically the threading of the machine. And just make sure I point something out here, and you will see this in the manual. When I'm coming off of the check spring and I'm coming down under here, you don't go through this hole. You come under this extension here before you hit the take-up arm. All right. So there we go, guys. Now that is essentially installing a needle and threading of a Singer Spartan, a Singer 66, Singer 99 or 99K, and a Singer 185. They're all going to be quite similar in terms of how their thread paths work. And again, my presser foot is in the up position. All right, so there we go. In the next video, we are going to try once again to see if this sewing machine will sew a stitch for me. I really don't know if it's going to or not. I make no assumptions and no promises. But we hope, we think we have corrected the issue with the stitch length, and we have literally disassembled this tension assembly to reset everything, and we will see what it does. In the next video, I will attempt to form stitches with this machine and see what we can do with it. Thank you all for watching, and if you have not, please feel free to subscribe, or you can click also on any of the links to buy me a coffee and support the channel by donating to my efforts to save more of these wonderful machines from back in the day. All of you, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next installment.